Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've had the AVs, so you know all about the number of matches he's played and the runs he's scored. 11,800 runs, both in Test cricket and in one-day cricket. Test cricket, the average was very nearly 50, 49.85. In one-day cricket, a bit lower, in the 33s. But amongst those 11,000 runs, there were 34 centuries, 50 half-centuries, and 205 catches in Test matches, second only to Rahul Dravid. And Dravid played 16 matches more. In ODIs, he took another 206 catches, and no one is near that. Ricky Ponting with 160 catches is the closest. And I doubt if anyone is going to catch that in a long, long time. And of course, we have that marvelous record of 624 runs made here at the SSE in partnership with his good friend Kumar Sangakkara. Interestingly, Kumar and Mahela put on 6,554 runs in partnership at an average of 56.5. They shared 19 century partnerships and several 50 partnerships, and of course the record of 624. So we'll begin with that and memories. Mahela, the first test, what are your memories of your first test?
First test, I think, nerves. I was, to be honest, surprised when I got the call up. Luckily for me, there were quite a few injuries after the West Indies tour to the national team, and I got my opportunity. So I was told the night before that I was going to play. I knew I'm going to get my first test cap, but walking into that dressing room of superstars at that time who had won the '96 World Cup, I was very nervous. I honestly, when I first walked in, stood for about 10 minutes not knowing where to sit, waiting for everyone else to sit, and then got my place, which is to date is the place that I sit at Kettarama. It was a great match. I think, you know, it's probably the best test match a debutant can ask for. Sitting in for 2.5 days with his pads on and walking to bat when the score was 700 odd for 4. The Indian bowlers were very tired. They couldn't even walk. It was much easier for me to go and bat and get a 50. So couldn't have asked for a better opportunity. But I knew that was just the start, and the road's always going to be much tougher.
Interestingly, Mahela, in that match, I think it was Mahanama and Jayasuriya, partnership of 555. They fell 1 run short of the partnership record in Test cricket at that time. You and Kumar took it, of course, to 624 against South Africa. What do you remember of that?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was a fantastic occasion. That's what I said, you know, that's a test match that no one can forget, you know, highest test score in the history of 952. I remember in pads for 2 days, so I'll never forget that. But those two guys batted really well and you know, put up a very, very good partnership. Unfortunately, we couldn't win the test match. But, you know, memories are quite incredible. For me, just to be part of that dressing room, I think everyone asked me, you know, what's your best memory in cricket? I've always said the day I got my test cap from my captain. I think, you know, that's something that's special that you look forward to as a young cricketer, and that's something that I'll never forget.
What memories of your first Test 100?
Good memories. I think, you know, that was something special at Galle against New Zealand on a very tough wicket. But I think, you know, there was not much pressure because we knew the wicket was pretty bad, and you know, New Zealand hadn't scored many runs, and our plan was, having lost the toss, them batting first, we knew the wicket was going to get worse. Our plan was to bat positively and get runs. So I was told to just go and bat normally, and that's what I did. I was lucky enough to get 100 on that wicket. I think, you needed a bit of luck. Balls were like, jumping all over the place, and I had a few missed hits which dropped where the fielders were not there. And I just carried with that luck and got that first 100. I think very important as a young player to get that 100 early in your career, because that gives you a lot of confidence. And I was quite fortunate that I got that under my belt at an early stage.
Well, 33 hundreds followed that. Which one would you name as the best you've made?
It's always tough to say that this was my best 100, but I think over the years, given different situations, I've scored hundreds, and I always cherish those situations. And if that has contributed to a win, I think that's the most important thing. So probably my highest score, 374, is right up there. And I followed that with another 100 at the Oval to win the Test match, chasing 324. So those two back-to-back hundreds are something special. And probably the other one which I'll always cherish is the second 100 I got at Lord's when we had to save a Test match, and everyone contributed in the team. We batted for nearly 2.5 days to save a Test match. So I got 100 in that second innings, and that's something special.
Any regrets about the 374, not getting the 400?
Probably afterwards, but when I got out, I was just was waiting to get into the dressing room because I was that tired at that moment. And I think it was a good ball that got me. I think you appreciate that you managed to get that far on one of your Test innings, because that kind of innings doesn't happen that often. And I was quite happy the effort I put in that day. And you should be happy with what you get. I have no regrets.
Okay, moving on. You've played under several different captains. Who would you pick as the best?
I didn't know that you were that good a bowler in your times, bowling all sorts of googlies at me. No, I think I was lucky enough to play under a lot of good captains, and everyone had different characteristics and strengths which attributes to a team performance. But I think my first captain was Arjuna Rantunga. You can't go away from that. I think Arjuna led from the front. I think he turned a corner in Sri Lankan cricket when he led that 96 group to a World Cup win, and showed a lot of the younger cricketers that we can do that. And I was probably the first generation to walk in after that, believing that there's nothing could stop me from achieving what I had to achieve. So a lot of credit should go to him, the way he had built the team, cultured a team who always wanted to win. And after that, we had a short stints of Hashan, Sanat. Sanat obviously had a longer stint. He had his strengths. I mean, he was a very upfront about the way things went, and he just let the team go with it. I think we probably had our best runs in Test cricket under Sanat, having won 11 Test matches in a row, which I think is a record as well. I think Australians have the record. I think we were very close. So yeah, I mean, I personally believe that Arjuna was something special, but I had the privilege of playing under Sanat, Marwan, obviously Kumar, and now Angelo, who hasn't done a bad job.
Who are your toughest opponents?
I think in cricket everyone's tough. It's you can't say that this guy is tougher than the other, but we've come across some really good players, individual players, as well as good teams. And I was privileged to play in an era where cricket has evolved. Things have changed, and it has become tougher. So the toughest would be Australia, South Africa, India, because we haven't beaten India in India for all these years, because it's like a fortress. So those are probably three, and Pakistan, 4 teams that, I felt we were up against it.
Okay, if we go into individuals, we've had Murali, Vas, who's here tonight, Lasit Malinga and Rangana Herat, who's also here tonight. If you had to pick one of them, who would you pick?
Well, I think you can't go past Murali. I mean, come on, 800 wickets, it's not an easy task. And if you probably get him on whites and ask him to come and play a test match, he'd probably pick up another 5. He's that good. So I think Murali was something special, and I was quite privileged to be part of that era where Murali dominated, and to have Vasi alongside. That was a great combination. And right now, Rangan has taken the burden. He's actually getting shorter and shorter because of the burden that he's put under, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, we're blessed with some really very good bowlers over the years.
Best opposition bowlers, the ones who made life most difficult for you?
I think when I started, Wasim Akram, probably the best bowler. I felt that, you had in his armory, which, had everything, who will throw everything at a batsman. I played a little bit of cricket against the Australians who were dominating at that time. So McGrath and Warney, you can't go away from those 2 guys. And those are probably the 3 best bowlers I've faced in early parts of my career.
Okay. We're getting hot now. We're coming to what's going to motivate you to keep playing cricket till the World Cup.
Win that trophy. I think, that itself is enough motivation for me to push myself. I think we've come close quite a few times, and we haven't been able to finish our journey. So this is probably my last World Cup, and for me to try and win that would be a great way to leave the game. So that itself is a great motivation for me to keep pushing myself.
So do you see yourself missing Test cricket?
Not really. I thought I will, but I'm still part of the team. I'm still training. I'm still having fun with the boys. So I haven't missed it. But maybe the day I finish playing international cricket, I will feel it a bit, but I'll be 38, then I know that I can't come back. I'll have to be in my crutches to come back and play Test cricket. So I don't think I have any regrets the way I've gone about things.
What does Christina tell you when you play a silly shot?
She would ask what went through your head, simple as that. But not in that same words, but not so polite. But she's a good critic. I think, you need that kind of criticism in your life. Initially she wasn't that critical about the way I played and how I went about, but later on she became an expert. So did my mother. So did few other ladies in my life, like my aunts and my grandmother. So that's how things goes. I think the fathers are quiet, but the ladies take over.
So are you one of these guys who's known as a GGB?
No, I think that's only the Thomians, which includes you. Because very rightly, in one of the weddings, they asked who knows what GGB is all about. So the entire Thomians put their hand up, and none of the others knew what was GGB. So I felt it was the Thomians who knew, and not Nalandians or Anandians or Royalists. So I'm being very honest.
Okay, you bowled me there. Now, do you think leaving Test cricket at this point, with your good friend Kumar still playing, that maybe you're letting him down?
No, not really. I think he's old enough to handle himself out there. No, not really. I think, I've started couple of years before Kumar, so it's fitting that I leave first, and he can, decide when he wants to leave after me, because he came into the side much later. So I'm quite comfortable the timing and how I went, and that's always going to be a tough decision for me to make, but I was quite confident in making that decision.
What would you tell the youngsters who are here tonight, and maybe any youngster you might meet, how they should go about trying to achieve even half of what you have done?
Make sure you don't listen to Michael as a manager. No, I think to enjoy cricket, I think that's the most important thing. I think everyone seems to complicate the game way too much. It's still a simple game between bat and ball. You're trying to improve your skills. Hard work is always paid off, so they shouldn't stop working harder to improve your game. But at the same time, I think it's important to enjoy it, enjoy with your teammates, enjoy the challenges. I think that's what I did, and that's why I managed to, achieve so many things, because I was looking for challenges, and that's the most important thing.
What's the most embarrassing moment you've had on the cricket field?
Few embarrassing moments. I think I remember in a test championship, Wasim Akram got me twice in 2 balls in both innings, and I was part of a hat-trick. The first innings, he bowled an in-swinger, hit front, just in front, and I had no answers to that. So I was a youngster going in the second innings. I thought, he's going to bowl me the same in-swinger, make sure that I don't put my foot across, play with a straight bat, which I did, but he bowled an outswinger, got my outside edge straight to the slips. And after the game, he gave me a pat on the back and said, "You'll learn." So that's something that I will always remember. And there was another match against New Zealand. You were talking about all the catches I've taken, but you can't, I've missed quite a few. There was this test match. I probably dropped 5 or 6 catches in 1 innings or 2 innings, I can't remember. They actually moved me away from slips to short fine leg, and I dropped a catch there as well. So that was one of those days that to any which was coming my way. So that was a very embarrassing moment for me.
Oh, I'm glad you're not infallible. Now we'll just take a short break from my talking to you. We'll ask Sangha to come up. Sangha, can you join us for a moment?
Well, to be honest, I didn't had one, but I think, but I grew up with my father behind me, telling me what to do on and off the field. So to date, I've always asked him with any decision that I make. Obviously, I've got a great support team now, but he's been there all along, and hasn't gone bad so far. I'm hoping it won't in the future. But I've had so many good coaches through my school career, through my international career, so many good people around me to give me good advice. So I've been blessed, and even though I don't have to mention their names, they know who they are. So thank you very much.
Okay, Kumar, tell us something about Mahela. The man, the batsman, the captain, the friend.
Well, I think my association with Mahela started around the under-17 age group when we played on opposing sides. And by the time I was picked to get into the national side, Mahela was already vice-captain. And I think Mahela, the batsman, I think no one really has to say anything about it. From the way he bats, the elegance, the beauty, the timing, the placement, the volume of runs he has scored, everything that most other batsmen, including myself, want to be, I think he's had it quite naturally. So we have a lot of batsmen in Sri Lanka and abroad who are quite jealous of what Mahela can do very easily that we have to work hours and hours in the nets for. As a captain, I think you asked Mahela the same question about Sri Lanka, I think. Arjuna, of course, was an outstanding captain when it came to the 92, 93 up to 96 era. He did, I think, the biggest service that anyone can ever do to Sri Lankan cricket by winning a World Cup, by changing the face of cricket of Sri Lanka. But at the same time, I think his inability to change from 96 to 99 was one of the reasons that there was a slight decline in the 1999 World Cup. Sanath and Mahela, both of them stand out from the captains that I played under. I never played under Arjuna as captain. I played my debut series as he was playing his last series. Sanath, because he won every single important toss that we could ever hope for. At any time, we played a final, a semi-final, anything that we needed to win the toss, Sanath won it for us. He also was captain when we won the most amount of test matches in a row with an average first inning score of about 525. And he was a very emotional, upfront captain who led from the front with his batting. Mahela, on the other hand, I think was probably the best captain I played under because of the fact that he was flexible, he was a strategist. He might not have won as many tosses as Sanath did, but at the same time he won us a lot of games. So I think Mahela had a lot of the attributes that you see in Arjuna, you see in Sanath and the other captains, and he had that combined in himself. So that makes him a fantastic captain. Mahela, the man, I think it's very simple. He's here today at SSC, the club he's played for so many years. He's been a very loyal servant of the club and of Sri Lanka cricket. He's been very simple, very unassuming, and no matter what he's achieved, where he's gone in his cricketing career, I think the greatest thing about Mahela is that he will remain the same person that the SSC players and the club knew when he joined the club in his school days, and he will finish his playing days being that same person. So I think that speaks volumes about Mahela as a person. And as a friend, I think I've enjoyed immensely my time with him, my time in the middle, and also his advice, his friendship, and the value that he's added to my own cricketing and personal life.
Thank you, Kumar. We'll now ask Angie to join us, and Kumar, you can go back to your table.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
And whilst Angie is coming up, we'll ask one more question from Mahela. Some of you may not know it, but he's a pretty good golfer. I've got a question here. Are you going to start playing golf regularly at the RCGC and Norelia?
I'll probably need a pass from my wife first to play regularly. But
GGB.
No. No, I think it's important that the fact that you've given so much to the game of cricket. I've actually devoted most of my time to something that I've loved, and I've family time was something that I've always missed. So I need to try and get that balance right after I retire. But I'm sure she'll allow me to play golf. She's already have. But to play regularly, it's going to be tough. But it's always a hobby. It's just a game of fun for me to relax. It's not a competitive game. So I'm sure I'll get a few more extra days.
Okay, Angelo, are you going to miss Mahela? You've grown up with him in the Sri Lanka side. You were his vice captain at one time, and now as captain, you've had his help for a year and a bit. What have you got to say?
Well, Michael, that is not even a question. But I think we are going to miss him so badly. I think, to fill his shoes. I can't see anyone, who's really going to fill his shoes, anytime soon. I think it'll take a lot of time. The caliber of, Mahela is, we all know that, and I think, he's a great player. So I hope that, the youngsters will step in.
Can you change his mind about Test cricket?
I've begged him, almost. I've begged him, but he said it's enough. But we respect it because he's played the game for almost 2 decades, and he's done a lot of good things to Sri Lanka cricket, so we respect it.
And whilst Angie is here, Mahela, question for you. Where do you see him in 2 years' time?
I think he's shown what he's capable of in the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm very much confident that that he'll improve on what he has achieved in the last 2 years. He's a very hard-working young man, he's got a great head on his shoulders, and I'm hoping that one day Angie would be the first guy to try and break our records and go past us, because that's what we all want to happen, because that's progression, that's what we want for Sri Lankan cricket. So as long as he can push himself to try and break all our records, that'll be great, and then the next generation to come and beat him and beat next guy. So that means cricket in Sri Lanka is in good progression.
Okay, and what role do you see for yourself in cricket once you finally retire after the World Cup?
Put my legs up and watching at home, TV.
Aren't you going to play some matches for the SSC?
I thought we got enough cricketers, Michael. I think, you come in and, give your 2 cents here as well. So I'm sure, they're quite okay with that. And I'll just, enjoy. I'll come on a Saturday or a Sunday and enjoy watching the boys play. But I think the whole point of us moving on is to give opportunity to the younger guys. So I think it's important that you establish that and try and push the next generation forward.
Okay, so one last question, which 2 people have asked. Unfortunately, it's, what have you got to say about me?
I'm sure it came from the SSC team out there. I've actually given him a hard time, so I need to be nice. No, I think it's fantastic to have Michael, and to the core, I think his love for the game is beyond anyone's imagination. I think what he has done for the club over the years and trying to create a culture here. You can see how competitive SSC is at club level, and he's trying to do the same with the national team as a manager. It is a tough job. It's not the rosiest thing to do as being the team manager. The logistics is overwhelming, and to handle 25 different people, it's not the easiest thing. On top of that, he needs to control Sri Lankan cricket as well, on the other hand, which is a much tougher job. We've always admired the time and the effort he's put in at his young age. Yeah, there's a lot of good things about him, but at the same time there are quite a few bad things, which is very, very tough to go away from him.
Okay, Mahela, thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Sorry, Michael, one more. Mahela, there's a special question posed to you from one of your colleagues of your schoolboy days. I'm sure you'll know the gentleman. He's seated at that table there, a tall, 6-footer, dark, left-handed opening batsman who has posed this question to you, who's played with you. He wants to know, during your school cricket career, how many Anand and Nalanda annual 50-over encounters did you win? I'm sure you know now who the...
Yeah. He's rubbing it in. I think we probably would have won 2, at least. They would have won the majority of... Unfortunately, they didn't have this chucking rule those days. Because the guy who asked me the question was the opening bowler for that team. And he's probably taken so many run-outs in his days. And so luckily for him, the rule came in time so that he couldn't roll his arm in international cricket.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this, and don't forget to hit the bell icon for our latest content.